Right, hello, and welcome back to Prem Week predictions. We didn't do the last one. I think that's because I just forgot basically. But we didn't do it last week because of the Queen's death. But it's going ahead this weekend. We got confirmation earlier in the week. But some games on playing, like the Brighton Crystal Palace derby, Chelsea versus Liverpool, Man United versus Leeds. It's only 3 games, but yeah, very understandable. Yeah, let's get into it. Aston Villa versus Southampton, the first match of match week 8. Now, Aston Villa, struggling side this season, had a great point against City last match, but they're still winless in 4. Southampton, they're struggling a lot this season, despite them having some good couple of results. Obviously, they beat Chelsea and whatnot. And I think they did quite well against Man United when they got beat 1-0 there. Played some nice stuff. But for me, I'm gonna go 1-1. Nottingham Forest against Fulham. Now, Nottingham Forest have looked a bit toothless in the last recent games. They got thumped off Man City 6-0. They got beat with Tottenham 2-0. So they've had some rather mediocre performances. Some quite very iffy. Fulham, on the other hand, they beat Brighton, a very informed side. Before that, they kept 3 clean sheets in a row. They were winning games. So I think that beat them is obviously big spirit. You almost feel that they were going to get back into it when Brian did score, but they managed to hold on, get a big 3 points, and they've impressed a lot of people this season. The sort of teams that will probably be scared to face them. And truth be told, they're not the same old Fulham who sort of lie down and take a beating as we've seen in previous PL seasons. So yeah, they look a strong side, and trying to see, as I said earlier on, Forest being toothless, wouldn't be surprised if Fulham beat them 2-0. Next we have Wolves versus Manchester City at the Molineux. Now, last season it was quite a battering for Wolves as they got beat. I think was it 5-1. So that was a bad performance. Funny enough, City scored the first goal, then they equalised, and then you think that something is someone's going to surprise the title race, but no, it was an absolute battering. Kevin De Bruyne scored 4, I think, then Sterling got the 5th. But the thing is with Wolves at the minute is that they set up well in these games and defend like lives depend on it and whatnot, and that's why they keep so many clean sheets, and that's why you can see as many goals, but they don't really set up to score goals either, and that can be a big problem, especially when you're up against teams like Man City and whatnot, who you need to break down in order to get the big points. It's already getting 1 point, but I think realistically you want the 3, don't you? So yeah, it reminds me a lot of them last season. They did the same there and Tottenham well for them to click and get that creativity building. Man City, on the other hand, just came off quite a mediocre performance against Villa, who, in all honesty, I thought they would thrash 3 or 4-1, judging on their recent performances. Mediocre point by them. Before that, they were really on form. They beat Nottingham Forest 6-0. They beat Crystal Palace 4-2. They had some really good results. Obviously, they came back from Newcastle as well. So yeah, they've had some good results, and they've had that determination of getting back into the game. So for me, it'll be tighter than what some people think. But I think it'll be 2-0 Man City, though, in my opinion. Next up, we have Tottenham as you take on Leicester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium now. I think Tottenham are getting better. I think they're ready to compete at the highest level. But I think I've been greatly impressed with them these last couple of games. I think they were quite mediocre, obviously, when they got beat 2-0. the other day by Sporting. Obviously, drew with West Ham 1-1. I don't get me wrong, they've had some really good results this season. There's no reason why they can't progress to what they did last season, finishing fourth. But you just think in some games he set back a bit too much. And when you sit back, you look at the West Ham game. It costs you points at the end of the day, sitting back. It costs you points. Realistically, you need points, don't you, in order to progress. Leicester City on the other hand, they are just. To be honest, the Leicester situation is actually quite worrying, actually, because they've been brilliant these past couple of seasons. Competing in Europe, competing in the Premier League, causing these big results. I mean, they beat Man City, was it 5-2 a couple of seasons back? And now we're how many match weeks are we in? 6, 7. Haven't even got a win. Haven't even got a point. So it's worrying. Because you got to think how on earth has Brendan Rodgers not been sacked as well. You look at Scott Parker, Thomas Tuchel has been sacked as well. So for me, probably I'm probably gonna go. No, I'm probably not gonna. I'm probably am 2-1. The early kickoff on Sunday, Brentford as you take it, Arsenal. This is a big game for both teams. Arsenal had just came off a bit of a iffy result against Man United, getting beat 3-1 there. So, obviously Brentford have been in great form as well. They beat Leeds United 5-2, but there are funny old side that Brentford, sometimes they look really good. You see that they've caused 2 big upsets in my opinion, the way Leeds are starting and whatnot. And I think Brentford have got some really underrated players as well. I mean, they've got Ivan Toney, Brian Mbeumo, they've got Jan Wissa. I think them 3 players right there are crucial to that Brentford side. Don't get me wrong. I think Ben Mead's been a good adjustment to them as well. Davare is a brilliant goalkeeper. He came from Blackburn Rovers. But you look at Arsenal on the other hand. You start off the season brilliantly, winning 5 in a row. But it's typical Arsenal to win 5, 6 in a row and then get thrashed by Man United 3-1. And people say, well, it's 3-1 and thrashing. I think it is. I think 3-1 is a thrashing, really. Because I think the way they sort of set up in that game, you would think that they're going to win that, maybe 1-2-0. But I think they were caught in the counter too many times, and that's why they ended up conceding 2 or 3 goals. So, and I think they struggled a lot in that game, really. I think at the back, they were actually pretty dreadful. So, for me, with this game, I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I think Brentford will give them a game, but I think Arsenal win now. Everton versus West Ham. I don't think Everton have clicked into gear so far. They're unbeaten in the last 4. They had a great performance, I think, against Liverpool. I think when you look back, maybe it's the goal that was disallowed, maybe that should have been allowed, and maybe that should have been their first win. And that would have been such such a remarkable first win as well, especially against probably arguably one of your biggest rivals as well, your next door neighbours. So, and obviously, you've got West Ham on the other hand as well. We've got a good result, another 3 points in Europe against a Danish side. 3-2 being there, them getting a constellation. But you know what? West Ham haven't impressed me. It's same as Everton. I don't think they've clicked in the gear as well. Don't get me wrong. I think they should have. I think they put up a good performance against Chelsea. I think they should have got something out of that. They got a good result of that against Tottenham. But I'm going to call it, and it's going to be a bit of a shock. But you know what, Everton 2-1. I think Everton will win this game. That might be a shock for a lot of people, but I'm going to go something different. 2-1. The reason I'm saying that, because I don't know, I just feel West Ham have struggled to create chances, goals. They've struggled to, win games, grind out games, get 3 points. So yeah, 2-1 Everton. And that's it for today. That is the end of Premier League predictions for this week. There won't be any next week because of the international break. I know, absolute meh. But match week 9, looking at some of the fixtures now. Arsenal visit Tottenham. What have we got here? Leeds versus Aston Villa. Man City versus Man United. Leicester City versus Nottingham Forest. Some good derbies in there, The Man City Man United will be good. And the Arsenal versus Tottenham is always a cracker as well. So I'll look forward to predicting that. I have a theory on how these games are going to go. Based on Man United's form and based on North and Tottenham's form. So there should be some very interesting games in there. But look forward to it. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, I'll see you later.